Okay, in this video, I'm going to look at aespa and the future of the girly bops because people have been wondering why their releases haven't been hitting, what's behind that, and also what the future is for them. So I looked into it. I love aespa. They are my favorite group. The future is interesting. With that being said, everything I say is all alleged and for entertainment purposes only, and with peace and love. And let's go. Okay, aespa. Page of Wands, it's a lack of passion, drive, energy, movement. This is the internet. It also can be communication and movement and energy and drive again, but it's in the reverse position. So it's sort of like a lack of that, or a lack of like goodwill or good energy in some way. The Hermit is like going within, trying to reorganize. Already it's kind of giving like there is a lack of passion, almost trying to find that passion in. I don't know if it's the members themselves or just like the people and the conglomerate of aespa. People who work for them or make decisions for them, but the Hermit is like trying to go back in, especially, haven't they been getting kind of like a lot of like unfavorability like online or with like fans or something? I haven't been keeping up, but it seems like people have not been liking their recent releases, so I don't know if it's necessarily like they're getting hate, although this doesn't have to be hate. It can just be like people who are saying a lot, but usually it's more in like a negative light, which could be constructive criticism, although typically that's not how people on the line typically talk. But this is like going back to the drawing board to a degree, but it's in response to how everyone else is. But it's also like the creative direction, there's something weird about it, like there's a lack of satisfaction there, kind of like lost, I guess, a little bit, like a loss of identity maybe, but not like, but I think some people would be like, since aespa left Kwanya, there's like a loss of identity in that way. It's not necessarily that, although it could be, but it's more like you know when you've been doing something for a really long time and you're kind of like bored of it, but you still like it. Like if you're a skateboarder, I don't know why I chose this example, but if you're a skateboarder, you've been doing it forever, you have like a whole persona about your skateboarding, but then it's sort of like you go to the same skate park every day and now you're like bored of it and you're like, I want to do something else. I want to do different tricks in a different location and wear different clothes. That's kind of what it is, but you don't know where to go or what to do, and you're just sort of like, I feel a lack of inspiration. Anyway, this is contemplation again. So this is going back to the drawing board, and this is contemplation again. And then the six of cups, I never get it right, is going back into the past. And the Page of Cups is like creativity. They're really at a crossroads, I kind of think. This seems like the members, but it also seems like the creative people behind aespa as well. I think aespa has a level, not of say, but they can kind of indicate what they like or what they're vibing with or not vibing with. But I wouldn't say they have the biggest control over the discography or their image, but it's sort of like they can influence it. Like if the creative director like asks them like, okay, like what are you inspired by? What is the vibe? What do you care about? That can sometimes influence where they're going. But aespa also, I think, just because they're the ones that have to embody this sort of a thing, they get told what's going on at the very least. At any rate, it's almost like, I think the creative direction is a little bit confused. I think that they thought that the new direction aespa has been going in, people would like, people have not been liking it. I think they really tried to make, like Dirty Work. I personally really like Dirty Work. I was surprised people didn't like it. I was like, oh wow, okay, work. But it seems like the creative directors of aespa were trying to have aespa sort of leave that AI concept, but still have the general kind of like dark aesthetic or like the heaviness that aespa tends to bring into their music. They wanted to carry that forward. It's almost like people didn't like it. The people didn't vibe, so we're going back to the drawing board. We're going to consider the past. I don't know if they're going to go back to Kwanyang, or maybe they're going to continue the storyline, but just in like a different way. But there's something about trying to reflect on the past and like what worked in the past and bring that into the future creatively. They might. I don't think they want to do that though. I don't think they want to go, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but like Black Mom and stuff like that. I don't know if they want to go back to that per se, but they want to figure out how aespa can like correct the course. I honestly kind of see them still not flopping, that's not the word I want. It's like I see them like throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. It's almost like they tapped the well on what like Kwanyang was or what they were doing in the past. So sort of like, how can we get people to like aespa again and what they're doing? And so it's like the creative direction is sort of like, okay, like you guys didn't like this and we're not 100% sure why you didn't like this, but we don't want to go back to the past, so how can we bring the things that worked in the past into the future without completely redoing it? this is hard work. Is it paying off? And like the question of that, and like what's going to grow and like produce the most amount of like fruit for our effort. The strength in the reverse position is like being disempowered and heartbreak. Oh, they're so sad that this hasn't been working out. They're sad dirty work didn't really hit. They're sad that what's the song they just released? Rich Man? I didn't really like Rich Man, but I like the concept of it. They're sad that that type of stuff didn't work, because this is like, we were trying something new. We were trying to see if the fruits of our labors were going to pay off. People haven't. I like it, though. I don't know. I'm not sure what the general consensus is, if most people dislike it or if it's kind of mixed. I really don't know. But the strength is like literally being disempowered. This is like heartbreak or disappointment. They're upset. The members are upset. The creative direction is upset. The thing is, like, aespa's still doing quite well, I think, right? Right? They're still doing really well. But it's sort of like aespa wants to be much bigger than they are, and I think they have for a while. But they don't quite know how to maybe break into so strongly, like, the American market or something like that. I think, can I tell you something? I bring KATSEYE up a lot, but I think it's because KATSEYE is really is on the minds of a lot of K-pop groups currently, because they really want to get into the American market just because there's a lot of money to be had there. And I think KATSEYE, because most of the members are American, already have like a foothold there, and because it's largely an American group with just like a K-pop styling. But it's sort of like aespa is sort of like like, and I also could imagine like there's going to be more groups like KATSEYE that are going to pop up, and aespa's like, we want to be bigger, we want growth. The members probably, but I think the members are more concerned about like keeping their fame alive, but more so their creative artistry and like getting that paycheck. aespa, the people behind them, want this. So it's sort of like there's a level of like, how are we going to like grow? How are we going to sustain our fan base? How are we going to please everybody? And also, you have to imagine the creativity in every single one of aespa's comebacks is like a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like the creative direction, the photo shoots, the styling, the outfits, the music, every time it's like, whoa, like this is a lot of production value. In a way, like if you compare it to like other groups, which I'm not gonna name, and it's sort of like, oh, okay, but like, so even if you dislike what aespa's doing, like there's so much energy and time and thought put into like their debuts, their comebacks. There's a lot of thought and energy and time put into their comebacks, and so it's sort of like they don't really want to like waste time and money as well. This is about money, too. This is the Queen of Pentacles, and it's sort of like the thing that we worked really hard on, we're trying to nurture, it's not going our way. There's a lack of nurturing, there's a lack of mothering going on. And then this is like giving and taking, it's also about money. Oh, they're also worried. SM's trying to like release new groups, right? Like Heart to Heart came out, of course. Heart to Heart's very different from aespa, though, so it's not necessarily like their direct competition, but you have to imagine, like, SM only has so much money they can give to groups, and I think they're trying to get more groups out there, especially because SM is not a company that has a lot of groups in comparison to, you know, like, even JYP. Like, JYP is always coming out with new groups. There's something about that where like aespa and the creative team behind aespa are sort of like, we don't want to lose our foothold. We don't necessarily want to turn into Red Velvet with absolute peace and love and respect to Red Velvet. But Red Velvet in a way is kind of shelved. Not even for lack of like interest. It's more just like SM sometimes will just like retire a group, even if like they're so rather profitable. There's a worry because the creative directors or the group that works with aespa is not necessarily entirely like the thing that runs SM. Like those are two separate things. So like the decision makers of SM are sort of like watching aespa, like, are you guys going to grow more? Is this going to be like a profitable dividend for us? Should we be investing in other groups? So there's a concern there. They shouldn't be concerned because the sun is like happiness, it's like youthfulness, it's like everlasting joy. I think the aespa's core fandom is really strong in a way that I think is the word that comes to mind is like unprecedented. I don't know why, but it's sort of like and I'm not like strongly in aespa's fandom, even though they're like my favorite group, but it's like there's something that's really like unshakable about aespa's fandom. Maybe it was the fact that they had that Kwanghyang lore or something, and like those the marketing, and of course the members are very funny and they're all unique in their own ways. There's something that's very unshakable about their core fandom, which I think is a very big saving grace for them. They also have a ton of casual listeners and casual fans in a way that is not as common with K-pop. So they have a really a strong core, but then they have a lot of people who will like come in and out of aespa depending on how good their music is or what the concept is for their comeback or something like that. That's going to be a really big saving grace for them. So it'll buy them time. For some reason, this is weird because the Wheel of Fortune is like time. There's something that's like time sensitive. And I really see it. It's sort of like if there's like a man in a suit, which I guess would represent like a decision maker at aespa, and they're like watching aespa, like, are you guys gonna make us money? Are you guys gonna grow? Or should we invest in another group because you're already tired? I don't know how long aespa has been out for. 5 years? They debuted in 2020, right? Right? I think so. So they've been out 5 years, almost 6 years, and it's sort of like, I just like see like somebody like kind of like watching them, like, are you almost like they're an investment rather than like a creative group, you know what I'm saying? So the Wheel of Fortune is time. It's also good luck, and we just got the Sun card, which again is like good luck, happiness, illumination. The Empress in the reverse position, though, is a lack of self-care, lack of nurturing, and the 10 of Pentacles in the reverse position is like looking back at your past unsatisfied. What does that mean? Oh, this is annoying. Someone at SM, I don't know who this is, some decision maker, somebody in charge of the money or something, kind of looks at aespa and it's sort of like, aespa I think is a very profitable group, but it's almost like you should be making more money. I really am strongly drawn to like, there is a fear of like, how HYBE is having more like American groups or something like that, and SM as a company is very worried that like HYBE is going to like consume them or like outperform them so much that SM just kind of like goes to the wayside, almost as if HYBE is McDonald's and SM is like Burger King, and it's sort of like McDonald's is like the thing, you know, it's the burger place, and you'll go to Burger King sometimes if there's something good, if it's there, but like McDonald's has such a dominating presence. It's a weird example. There's something like that, where SM is very concerned about the global groups that are starting to crop up everywhere, and they're sort of like, can aespa carry us? Especially because aespa, I think, is one of their biggest groups currently, right? I'm trying to think of another group that SM has that's like equivalent. I don't think there is one. Just in terms of like recognition and brand value and being able to like spread so far, and like I really don't understand this though, because I think, but I don't have the numbers in front of me, I haven't also been paying that close of attention, but I think aespa is a really viable and popular group, just generally speaking, not even just for SM, but like generally in like the industry currently. There's someone like breathing down their neck though, I don't know why. I think it's maybe like you guys have been doing good, but like will you? And also, it's almost like the cost of aespa versus what they bring back, there's still a good profit margin, but it's like not as much, or there's not as much growth as they want, because I keep really focusing on somebody believing aespa is an investment more than they are like a creative group, which makes sense. This is all about money at the end of the day. But this is a lack of like nurturing, and almost sort of like, should we withdraw that? I'm concerned. What the hell? This is like hard work. Is it going to pay off? But it's more so like honing on your craft, and it's like, are we focusing on the right thing? Are we working on the right thing? Are we going in the right direction? The Hanged Man is a need for a new perspective in the Tower. Oh God. I feel like aespa was going to have another but the thing is, like, I really don't think what they have been doing with Dirty Work, with Rich Man, etc., I don't know how much of a rebrand that was. I think it was rather gradual. I liked it. Or even, what's the one that was like Armageddon? That seemed like it made a lot of sense logically, especially from like their Kwon Young days. Like, I was like, yeah, like that makes sense. I don't know though, like at any rate, I see like them trying something new and like different again. I don't think that's the smartest move, because their fans, I think, are already a little bit like destabilized with what aespa's coming up with currently, but it's sort of like what we're working on currently isn't working. But I really see them trying to go back into the past or bring something significant from the past forward. But still, I think there's going to be like a directional change or 180, because this is a new perspective, and the Tower is like a big change. Usually through a disaster, but it can just be like such a big rattling of like your core and your foundation. This isn't going to be the creative director's decision. This is somebody at the top, somebody who doesn't quite understand creativity. It would be like the equivalent of like Donald Trump like saying some bullshit about the economy, and it's like, well, you're not an economist, like you should consult like professionals or someone that's like money oriented or like highly powerful in SM, and they're gonna call the shots on this, and it's not gonna work because it's like you don't understand creative things. I really see that, like there's someone watching them, and I really don't understand why. It might not be a SM, it might be some, like, let's say, because SM has been, I think, going through on their business side has been going through some like weird things. So it might be someone who's like trying to buy SM or buy a portion of SM and is like watching them closely. There's somebody powerful that's like trying to do something, and it's not going to work because they're not an expert in that. The World is like completion, and then the 9 of Pentacles is like abundance, luxury. Well, maybe it'll work. I don't know. Will it work? This is like not being naive anymore. It's like going on a new journey, but you have more knowledge. You're like weathered. The Chariot is like a stall or a delay or the slowing down of something, and this is a lack of balance. But this is like abundance. Well, but that card can also talk about like money or luxury. Oh, and this is like global. Again, KATSEYE has done something to the industry. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like KATSEYE has taken a lot of like the American listeners that usually go to K-pop, and they're like, oh, cool, like there's a group for Americans now or something like that. Because this is like global. I also think there may be whispers of more global groups coming up that are similar to KATSEYE. Maybe like a boy group or something. I'm not sure. That we don't know about yet, that hasn't been announced yet, but the industry knows about. Because this, to me, is indicating, like, the other thing is I keep very prominently picturing KATSEYE just, like, standing there. Not intimidating, they're just there. But this is sort of like, we're worried about the money. We're worried about, like, the global effects of aespa. Can aespa have, like, staying power on the global stage, not just, like, K-pop or, you know, people who are interested in K-pop on a more niche scale. And it's like, is there going to be enough abundance? Is there going to be enough luxury to, like, sustain us? And then the Fool is, like, not immaturity, but it's, like, no longer being naive or, like, having a sense of, like, maturity, but it's not always, like, productive, per se. Or almost, like, you know, if you've been traumatized and now, like, you're not as, like, effective, you have, like, wisdom, but it's hard to apply it. That's maybe what I'm trying to say. The Chariot is slowing down, and the Temperance is, like, a lack of balance or being off path. This is weird, because it's really not about the members. It's about, like, the business around them. This is, like, doing something shady. But Justice is coming. Oh, great, good. Because this is, like, shadiness, and it's like, nope, you have to be, like, straighten up and fly right. And a lack of stability. Ace was going to be going through changes. I don't think it's the members say it all. I don't even think it's the creative directors say it all. It seems like somebody at the top is going to be making some decisions. I don't know how smart those decisions are going to be, but it's going to be based in money more than anything. I think it'll work out enough money-wise, but there's something about longevity. Not to say that I think aespa is going to disband or anything, but like their longevity or their trajectory is going to change soon. So if this decision isn't made, they'll go on a different path, and I think that path will be fine, but it'll be about as similar as it's been going. It's almost like they want aespa to, like, go up a tier or go up a level in some way. I don't know. But this is all, like, money-based and business-based. It's really interesting. I think they'll be fine. I think their next couple of releases will be around the same as their past few recent releases, where people are going to have questions and they're going to be like, what the hell? I think they're going to try new things. I could see maybe a big pivot or change coming to aespa, but the thing is I can't necessarily tell you in what way. It seems like it's going to be in how they present, though, because I see them on the stage and there's something different, but that could be something that I'm not quite understanding all the way. But it's like I see them like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing like what is going to stick, which I don't quite understand. But also they've had an amazing run, like banger after banger. I love aespa. I will always ride for the girlies. Well, with peace and love.